Welcome to Jim's Code Corner. My name is Jim Belcher, and today we're going to continue working on our to-do list. If you remember last time, we actually got the list to appear when the page refreshes or first loads. So today we're going back to the APIs and we're going to start working on the delete an item. So let's go ahead and look at our Trello ticket here. And the scenario is, as a user, I want to be able to delete a task so that I do not see unnecessary tasks on my to-do list. Pretty straightforward. Acceptance criteria is given the to-do list has task, when I click the delete, or has a task, when I click the delete button on a task, the task gets removed from the to-do list, and the description field is focused. Okay. Looks like we're missing a little thing here, so let's go ahead and add to our checklist here. We'll call it subtask, and I like to add API and UI. Just because there's not too much more than that. These are pretty simple, so I'm not going to have many more subtasks than that. Okay, so let's go ahead and close that guy, and we'll move that into in progress. Just a quick note, I did get a request from one of my viewers here requesting that I demonstrate something for them via our comments on YouTube. So I went ahead and created the ticket here in my Trello board, and you'll be seeing a video for that soon. So whenever you guys send out ideas for me, I will go ahead and add it to my board, or if you don't have to relate it to a to-do list, it could be about anything. I'll create a new board, doesn't matter. Just let me know what you want to see, as this channel is really going to be driven by you guys. So once again, thank you for all your comments and likes and all that. And all right, let's get started on this delete. So I'm going to go ahead and open up STS. And we're going to start with the controller as we usually do, and we're going to start working on a test. So to create the delete, it's going to be very similar to all the other controllers we've created. It's simply going to accept a request, and then it's going to move that request onto a service where that's where the logic's going to be. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll start by making our test public void test delete should really ain't gonna be returning anything because it's a delete. So maybe we should just should call delete service, or should call delete function. Okay. So all this is going to do, once again, as I mentioned, is just going to call the delete function on our service that we're going to be creating here. So let's think about the inputs here. So as part of the inputs to this function, we're going to need an ID. So the ID of the task we're going to delete. So let's start by creating that guy. Final, long, and I'm doing long because if you'll remember, the ID for our items are longs. So we'll say ID to delete, and we'll say maybe 42L. So we're going to use Mockito to do this test here. So we'll say do nothing when to do item service dot delete, and we'll just feed that item to delete into there. So basically saying when we call that function with that ID, this test actually is not going to really call it. It's not going to really do anything. So, excuse me. Let's go ahead and import do nothing. Of course, delete will be have that error showing because we haven't done anything with it yet. So then we'll say subject, and we'll say to do item service. Oh, no, that ain't correct. Subject delete, so we'll call our function delete, and once again we'll feed in that ID to delete. And as for actual test, we really can't assert anything, so we're not returning anything. So what we'll do is we'll actually use Mockito and do a verify. We'll verify that the to item service dot delete was called, essentially. And I'm going to go ahead and once again import. All right, and that'll be all there is to the test. So basically what we're saying, we're going to feed in 42 into our subject here, which is going to be delete, which is our function we're going to create in the controller. And this function is going to call a delete function in the service. That's it. So let's go ahead and make this happy so that we can actually get this to compile, and then we'll write the controller. So switching over to the interface for the service, we'll simply do a public void, and that will be delete, and we'll say oh, to do item ID, and that will be along. Okay, so we'll go ahead and save our interface. This is now angry with us, which that's fine. So we'll go ahead and add the unlimited items, which will stub it out for us. That's all I care about right now in the service. And now this is not, we'll see that this one's not happy, but, or this guy's happy, but this guy's still not happy because we actually are creating the controller. So next up, let's go ahead and switch over to the controller, and we will satisfy that need, and then we'll start actually writing some code once we prove it's a failed test. So I'm just going to do public void delete. It's going to take in a long, I'm going to use the actual object long, ID, or to do item ID. I could call it ID delete, but it's, this is more descriptive to the actual type itself. And there, that should be all it needs to be happy now. Cool. So let's go ahead and run our test. Run as a JUnit test. It should fail, and it does. Right there, our test. If we look at it, we wanted but not invoked this delete function here with 42. Excellent. So let's go ahead and actually write this as a nice usable function and satisfy that test. So we'll start with the mapping. So request mapping. We'll say the value is going, that is not high spell value, equals, and in this case we're going to do slash and ID because we want to actually inject the ID that we're going to be deleting into the URL, and that's how we're going to know what items to delete. So what we're going to do is say now method is going to equal request method, that's not method dot delete. We're going to use the delete method when we actually make the request. Okay, so we have a little work to do over here now in the function definition. So we're actually going to say response body, like we always do. And here we're going to put in a new guy here, a new annotation. This is going to be path variable. And that is how the, excuse me, let me finish this up before I complete my thought. That is how Spring is going to know to take ID from the URL and inject it into this this variable here. It's going to use this guy here. So if I were to change this to ID2, that would actually pull nothing because that's not in our URL. I'd have to change this to ID2 as well. But we want just ID, so it's a little bit more understandable. So, okay, so request body. That should not be request body. It should be response body. Okay, so the definition looks good. Let's go ahead and write this controller now. So we'll return nothing actually. So we're doing a void here. To do service, to do item service, delete, and we'll feed in that to do item ID. Except that should not be a capital to do item ID. There we go. Okay, so that should satisfy the test. Let's go ahead and rerun that. All right, our test passes. Our controller should be set for the service. Excellent. Let's go ahead and jump over now to the test for the service, and let's think about what this needs to do. In its simplest form, what we want it to do is simply call our delete function on a repository. This is not going to prevent errors, because if I feed in an ID that doesn't exist in a database, we're going to get an exception, which I'll show you that, and we'll get an uncaught exception. So I'll display that for you. And if you guys want to learn about error handling, um, we could do that in another video. Let's going to keep it very simple here. So first we'll write another test. We'll call it public void delete should call delete repository. So once again, we're not returning anything, so we can't really test on that. So we're just going to use that Makito verify to do our test. That's my mouse cursor. There we go. Okay, so we're going to do pretty much the exact same thing we did for the controller here. We're going to do final long, and we'll say, let's just go with that. We'll stick with the ID to delete, and we'll go with 42L again. Why not? Do nothing when to do item repository dot delete this time, and once again we'll feed in the ID to delete, and then we'll do subject dot delete, and we'll feed in the ID to delete once again. See, I told you it's like identical to the controller. Verify the to do item repository dot delete, and once again, similar to that find all, we'll see the repository has all kinds of functions here we could use, and delete being one of them. So we're going to actually choose delete, and we're going to feed in the ID to delete. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add this static import to do nothing, and we don't have to worry about satisfying any requirements for this guy. The interface, the CRUD repository interface, already handled that for us. So let's go ahead and attempt to run this function. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it will fail. And it does. Excellent. And similar to what we saw in the controller, wanted but not invoked, to item repository delete 42. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go to our implementation, and we'll go ahead and write that function. So like I said, this is not gonna do much error handling. I'm gonna make it as simple as possible, and we can do the error handling in another video if you are interested. Please leave your comments if you are. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to lowercase this. I do not like that being uppercase. Maybe that's why everything was uppercase on me. Must be like that in the interface. This goes that interface. That's going to bother me if I do not fix it. There we go. Cool. So once again, we're not going to return anything. This is a void. So what we're going to do is just going to call to do item repository dot delete, and we're going to feed in the to do item ID. That's all there is to it. So I'll rerun those same tests. They are passing this time. Everything is satisfied. We don't have to do any work with the repository. Their CRUD repository interface handled that for us, which we extended. So that should be it for our delete. Let's go ahead and we'll run all of our tests, and then we'll build it, and we'll try running it with Postman. So let's do a Gradle test. Okay. Build successful. 4 actual tasks, 3 executed, 1 up to date. Just making sure everything is good here, because yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. So we'll do Gradle, not capital Gradle, Gradle, boot run. That's all we care about the back end. There is no interface for us that we need next time. Okay. Okay, that looks like it's running. So give me 1 second. I just gotta clear out some stuff from Postman. Unfortunately, it's for another client, so I really can't show you guys. 1 moment. Okay, guys, I'm back. I went ahead and cleared out Postman. So let's go ahead and open that back up. And let's go ahead and if you, I have this Postman collection already set up for everything we're going to be doing here with this with MVP here. So I'm going to start by showing you right now. You can see everything's empty. There's nothing there to delete. Let's go ahead and create one. You'll see the body is just as a test. So let's do that. We'll get back that we have ID number 1 returned. Let's go ahead and let's do 2 as well, and 3. And if I do a find all, we will get all 3 of those. That's what we saw last video, or a couple videos ago, I suppose. Um, so let's go ahead and delete one of these. Let's go ahead and delete ID number 2 using our new API. So what we'll see here is for a delete, I'm using the method delete. The body can actually be empty. We're not actually going to be using that, so let's go ahead and delete that, and I'll save that. And that the URL, we put this number here. The number represents the ID of the item that we're going to be deleting. And if we go back to find all here, it's going to be ID number 2, so we're going to put number 2 in there. So if you remember from what we saw in Eclipse, I put that ID at the end of the URL. And that's how we identify which item we're going to be deleting. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this out. We should get nothing back, honestly, because we're returning void. Just get a 200 OK, got nothing back as expected. Let's do that find all once again, and we'll see that number 2 has been deleted. So it looks like we accomplished our goal. The API seems to be working for deletion. Next time, as I mentioned, we will work on the interface for this. We'll add a button to each row, call the delete API, and we'll go ahead and make that description field may have the focus. So we have a couple pieces of criteria there. Okay, so guys, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave your comments of what you want to see. I'm going to be making videos based on your guys' suggestions. I'm probably going to do another one today based on that task you saw in Trello earlier. Um, Thank you very much. As usual, I'll put the code in the bottom. And you guys have a nice day.